Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Before I start, let me wish each and every viewer a very happy Diwali. Wish all the brothers and sisters a very happy Bhai Dooj. Now let's get into the story at hand. Why does Narendra Modi get votes in India? Let's discuss that. Let's get right into the show. Now, before I get into the topic, let us keep all this EVM, election commission, fraud and all that to the side for the moment. Let us discuss logical conclusions. Let's talk logic. Okay, all this fine. I'm not saying whether it happened, it didn't happen and all. I'm not going to talk about it. Let us not have that as a topic of conversation. Let us look at what is really happening. Why are people going out there and giving Narendra Modi votes? Now, before I get into my logic, I want to show you a visual. Okay, now this visual is not made to scale, but I want to show you a visual. The visual that you are seeing in your screen is the universe, is the total number of voters, and I have bifurcated this into two halves. So it is not made to scale, it is just for reference. So let's see this sphere. This sphere is divided into two. The upper sphere is basically consisting of the middle class, the upper middle class, and the rich class. And the lower sphere consists of the lower middle class, the poor class, and the people below the poverty line, the BPL class. So this is how broadly we are looking at the voters. Now, as we know, the core audience that Mr. Narendra Modi enjoyed all these years and still continues to enjoy to a certain extent is the Hindu middle class. We have been saying that. That's the strip that you see in the middle. It is the Hindu middle class. So I'm taking a little bit of the lower middle class also in it. So the Hindu middle class voters is what has been Mr. Narendra Modi's core audience. Mr. Narendra Modi got support from them. Come hail, come high water. Whatever happens, these people were there to back These people are there to back Mr. Narendra Modi. The core proposition why this entire target was with Mr. Narendra Modi is because of Hindutva. Hindutva was an overriding factor. Of course, good governance, rest of the things followed. Gujarat model and all of that followed. But the core proposition, the unique selling proposition that Mr. Narendra Modi offered to these audience was Hindutva, and these people bought the Hindutva proposition. And that is what Mr. Narendra Modi was. This audience in 2014 gave Narendra Modi 272 seats in the Lok Sabha. And he came in as the single largest party. He came in, Bharatiya Janata Party came in without any need of any NDA partners and all. They could form the government on their own. Now, after 2014, a lot happened. And in 2019, from 272, Narendra Damodar Das Modi grew to 303. Of course, there was a huge element of Tina factor. There is no alternative factor to it, no denial. But somewhere down the line, his audience grew. His audience started becoming larger. And one of the first people to speak about that was, I should say, Shekhar Gupta.
Anything that happened in the past, very little got to her. Very little. This time, LPG, the house, even if you Government didn't build a house for you. You were building a house. They gave you 1.5 lakhs. One after the other. And I was looking for evidence to the contrary. And many of the people we traveled with, we're a group, we were hoping to see evidence for the contrary, but we were not finding it. We were finding gas cylinders. We would even peek inside the houses and find a gas cylinder. So you build a house, government gave you 1.5 lakh. You build a toilet, government gave you 15,000. Government didn't come and build the toilet for you. What did the government do? They used direct benefit transfer. They used something that in this city and in this 1 square kilometer periphery, everybody gets very angry about. They used the JAM Trinity, that is Jan Dhan account, Aadhaar, and Mudra loans. Initially, I thought Mudra loans were all rubbish, that this was all a fake. But when I have videos, Mr. Shobha Lal sitting 50 kilometers from Azamgarh, Dalit saying that I got 50,000 rupees Mudra loan, made this chai shop, I repay 1,300 rupees every month. If I don't repay on time, bank manager sent somebody to me. And then came back and checked the larger data. 4.81 crore people have got Mudra loans and 2.1 lakh crores have been dispersed. Now, I have to say this very honestly, that we journalists and the commentariat chose not to see it.
Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi redesigned his product. He redesigned his offer for the country. While he maintains the Hindutva for his core Hindu middle class audience, the Hindutva is maintained. He also added social benefits to cater to the lower middle class and the poor. And these social benefits ensured that from 2014, where he had 32% of people voting for him, to in 2019, where he managed to get 37.36% people, 38% people voting for the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is how he expanded his vote base. He went beyond his core audience, and that is how he expanded his voter base. Now, let's check this logic. Let's take the Bihar election as a case in point. 2015, 53 seats. 2019, 74 seats. Of course, the vote percentage in 2015 was close to 38%. Now, the vote percentage of BJP is hardly 19 or 19.5%. Obviously, you should also consider the fact that the number of seats contested in 2015 was far higher than the seat contested now. So, logic being that from 53 seats to 74 seats. Now, if you look at two things that happened in Bihar. One, there was a lot of talk about the silent voters. One of the biggest factors for the silent voters, that is the women of Bihar, voting for Modi was the fact that they were given free gas. They had received 2 free gas cylinders in the last 6 months, and they were hoping to get 1 more free gas cylinder. 3 gas cylinders in a matter of 7 months, 8 months. I will give you an example. I spoke to a gentleman called Prajapati Yadav, a migrant worker who had gone to Bihar. I had spoken to him after the election, and of course he had voted for Narendra Modi. I asked him why he voted for Narendra Modi. In fact, he had suffered a lot because I remember he and his daughter, he has 3 sons, 1 daughter and his wife. 6 of them had gone to Bihar. His daughter and he both suffered from hairline fracture. It took them 18 days to reach Bihar. I know that, and therefore I called him. But the fact is, he is not blaming Narendra Modi for the simple reason that he says the moment I landed there, because of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, he got 30 kilos of rice, 5 kilos each. 30 kilos of rice for the family, 3 kilos of chana for the families. The food was there on the table, and that's what he says. He says, Nitish Kumar didn't organize for buses. हमको उधर से भी चल के आना पड़ा. Border में there was no buses. We were made to do that. We were made to do this. So his anger was at Nitish Kumar, but Pradhan Mantri Garib Yojana ensured that he got food in the table. His vote went to Narendra Modi. So the strategy, look at it. The strategy is very, very clear. Hindutva for the middle class, the core voters, and social benefits, social programs for the poor, the below poverty line, for the lower middle class. The growth that one is seeing, is one is seeing from the lower class, from the lower middle class and the poor, that Mr. Modi currently is ensuring. Now, this is as far as the strategy is concerned. Now, all this is good, very good. Social programs for the poor, upliftment of the poor, very good. But then there is a problem. You see, the problem is the country, while it is very essential for the government to ensure that the poor are taken care of, it is also essential for the government to ensure that there is enough stimuli, enough economic benefits, economic policies for the middle class, the upper middle class, and most importantly, the wealth creators of this economy. You see, the wealth creators of the economy propels our economy. Our middle class, our upper middle class propels our economy and lifts our economy. Because it is very important that our economy is lifted. Because if our economy is not lifted, you can't sustain all these programs. These programs won't last. And the proof of the pudding is very clear. After this government has taken over from 2016, that is after the year of the great demonetization, the GDP of our country has been falling steadily. 2016, 8.6, 2017, 7.4, 2018, 6.1, 2019, 5.2, 2020, minus 23.9. You see, the GDP has steadily been falling. Forget 2020. Let us talk about 2016 to 2019. This is the result of not propelling your economy. This is the result of not having enough schemes, enough policies, enough stimuli for your economy to grow. So come to think of it, the government's plan meant for the lower sphere, it worked. The Ujjwala Yojana worked to a certain extent. The Ayushman Bharat worked to a certain extent. The Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana worked to a certain extent. The Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana actually worked well. So these programs worked for the lower sphere. But programs, in fact, there were hardly any programs for the upper sphere. There were regulations for the upper sphere. There was GST for the upper sphere. There was demonetization for the upper sphere. And all of this actually crushed the wealth creators of India. In fact, the wealth creators of India started getting scared of the compliance. They were scared. So there were no specific or strong programs that helped the MSMEs. There was no specific or strong programs that helped the corporates of India. There was no strong programs that helped the exporters of India. There was no strong government programs that helped them. Except for the fact that, every second day there was a new compliance policy. So somewhere down the line, the entire focus was on the sphere 2, but the sphere 1 was left as is. And that's a big problem. These social policies, these welfare policies, these welfare schemes of the government are good. They are good for short term. In fact, to a certain extent, they will also increase the lifestyle of the poor, but for a short term, for a short period. Because the government will not be able to sustain these kind of activities. The government will not be able to give free grains every day. For the government to really uplift the poor, the government to really uplift the downtrodden, the government needs to have permanent policies. The government needs to propel the economy. The economy has to be propelled, and wealth needs to be created. Our coffers should be full of cash so that we can indulge in welfare schemes. And for that, you need to ensure that your companies, that your MSMEs, that your wealth creators are empowered. They are given more support instead of putting more and more compliance on them, more and more regulations on them. They should be helped. They should be let to go and create money, create wealth. Because they not only create wealth for themselves, they also create wealth for the country. They create jobs for the country. They make this country prosperous. And that will be a permanent prosperity. So that's something that this government has to take care of. That's something that this government has to look into. That's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Till I meet you next time. Namaskar.